origin story.
How did FirstCheck Africa start?
I think you and I have two slightly different versions of this story. I realized that one day I was listening to you tell, I think you'd recorded it or something, and I was listening to it and I was like, technically true. But some of the elements was like, so not so much that we remember things differently, is we start measuring time. We measure time differently.
Fair.
Which I thought was really interesting. I'll let you tell your story and I'll tell you where mine is different.
I think maybe the difference is from, in my head, the conversation started from the coffee at Wings.
Yeah.
And then, but like for you, it might start in like October.
So in my head, the conversation, so when I heard, tell the story starting from Wings.
Okay. So, I don't know, did you move to Nigeria? I don't know if you just moved to Nigeria. You became the MD of Endeavor, right?
Yeah.
And you reached out to have coffee and we spoke. And we kind of started talking about like angel investing.
So let me give you context for my reaching out. It was, so part of the role at Endeavor is supporting high growth companies, etc. And then a KPI for the office or for the managing director is always kind of who's in your pipeline, what's in your pipeline. And so you're constantly building pipeline.
Oh, I see.
And so, I'm sure the current MD of Endeavor has had pipeline, and you're doing it from a perspective whereby you're saying, also you're sort of tracking how companies are doing, who's fundraising, and you're saying to yourself, about kind of seed Series A is probably where I want to sort of bring people into my network, because it's also sort of an early stage network. So anyway, all of this to say, I had my pipeline and I put the pipeline together, and I'm looking at this pipeline, and of course PiggyVest is in my pipeline, and I'm like, it'd be cool to get some more female-led companies, right? And on some level, you kind of know that there are not that many. On another level, you say to yourself, I said to myself, it's 2018, I think.
Yeah.
So what's that, 5 years ago? I said to myself, but there must be a bunch of stuff that I'm just missing. I can't see. So I think it was on that premise that I'd reached out and I said, hi.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about PiggyVest and Endeavor, but I actually also want to pick your brain around who else is in the space. Yeah.
And we talked very little about PiggyVest.
We did talk about PiggyVest, actually.
And then we ended up talking about like angel investing, generally speaking, and getting more women to angel invest as a way to catalyze like female like participation in venture generally. And we had that coffee. I don't think we spoke like one-on-one again for I don't know, maybe 2 years. Yeah. Until 2020.
The famous
2020, which was fun. People familiar know. Anyway, something happened in 2020, and Eloho and I spent an extended amount of time together.
And we're saying nothing. Else about it.
And so we spent like days together, and a lot of the conversation was around what if the way to get like female representation in venture and getting more money to women is actually to give them the money versus getting more women to angel invest. And it was after breakfast, I think.
It was after, it was a couple of days, but the crystallizing conversation was after breakfast. But it's interesting because I think it was so funny. I was talking to somebody about this a couple of days ago where they were saying, you all started as an angel fund, didn't you? And I said, yes. And he said, why? And I said, to be honest with you, it was just from a place of, I don't want to have too many conversations. Do you understand?
Ask me why.
I was like, it's fine. How much do you have? How much do you have? Pull it together and whatever. So I think there was a level of pessimism around sort of the expectation.
There was. We just did, and because we felt like, and also, we had already spoken about having these conversations with people, and individually, the responses that we'd gotten. I particularly remember a response where someone told me women just weren't starting companies, and I was just like looking at them with this.
As a woman.
I guess, okay. And so I just didn't want to go back there and tell them women are starting companies here, 1, 2, 3. And so having someone who thinks, well, let's put some of our own money together, put your money where your mouth is literally, and do that. And so after that conversation, I was like, so what should we call it?
And we kept saying, write women their first checks. We want to write women their first checks. Just be the first check.
It was a very fun conversation.
And then I said, so what should we call it? And you're like, well.
We say first check all morning, might as well.
Might as well use that. And I don't know if you remember So this was all kind of pandemic period as
It
well,
was,
right?
yeah.
So I'd kind of gotten into Canva. Like, I don't know why I spent all my time on Canva.
You had gotten into Canva.
Everything was a Canva project. And I remember kind of going up to my desk and I started designing logos. So I was saying, I think you were in the car 10 minutes down the road and I sent you like 6 logos or something.
I've not gotten home yet.
There was brown, there was this, there was that. But it was good. But then interestingly, that was October. We announced in January.
Yeah.
But the period between October and January, we would speak every week.
And then we just having meetings.
And they got into this thing where we were like the minutiae of everything. And I remember the day that we did pull the trigger, it was you literally saying,
well, we can over-engineer it or we can
just announce. I'm like, yeah, but what if you're not ready? And then I remember you saying, don't worry, once you're announced, you'll be ready. And then we did. And you were right, though.
And the response was actually really...
Yeah, it was interesting.
It was better than I think we'd expected.
It was fun as well.
Yeah.
I remember it was fun. I remember it was just fun.
Because we didn't have everything all figured out. That's why it was like, oh, people are asking this question. Well, we have to find answers.
Yeah, it was great. And then our socials, I remember there was also energy around our socials as well. Because in the pandemic, you can like do a lot of like all of that work. Yeah.
But what was, I think, particularly stand out after we launched was how many people reached out to say, we too would like to fund this mission. And
that kind of spoke to, was the counterpoint to the original optimism, right? We were like, we don't have energy for, and then we didn't need to have energy for.
Yeah.
And so so it went from an angel pool of capital to actually having LPs, which was interesting.